Welcome to the Empowering Choices podcast. Today we're going to talk about giving away your kids' toys.
I think, were you saying, Josh, that was a problem that you had in your house, is the overaccumulation of small plastic McDonald's toys?
Yes. My goal for this past Christmas, which didn't completely work, was I told everyone, don't get us any toys, just get us Ikea gift cards because I'm trying to organize the toys we have.
Oh, goodness.
That actually didn't go over very well. We did get one Ikea gift card, but other than that, everyone's like, no, we're buying toys.
We're buying the child toys.
Yes. So we did get more toys.
Yeah, the story from my wife recently is a library's summer reading program, right?
Okay.
And the idea of they give out prizes for your kid reading.
Okay.
And there was this mom who was complaining and saying, I don't need more garbage in my house. Mm-hmm. And this was prior to us having kids. And my wife's kind of looking at that situation going, well, but what's the big deal? Right?
Yeah.
No, we want to incentivize children to be reading. So we're going to be giving them some prizes so that they, and several years down the road now, she's looking at it going, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I look around my living room.
Oh, yeah.
And it can be at times scattered with just stuff.
Right.
And then how useful is it to have your house full of toys for a variety of reasons, right? Is it good for the kids? Is it good for the house? I know it's not good for my state of mind when I can't see my floor.
Well, and I've seen a lot of controversy on TikTok and Instagram with creators making two kinds of videos. One is hey, your kids are suffering because there's too many toys and they're overstimulated and it's ruining their lives.
They're suffering because they have too many toys.
And so that's why I decluttered down to one toy. And then people will say, this sounds more like something you wanted versus something that actually benefits the kids. And then I saw a really cool kind of response to that where somebody made a video and they said, to you, this may look like an absolute just disaster and a mess. And it was like this living room where all these toys were out. But then they got down on a child's level and they were like, but actually, here's where Spider-Man is reading a story to all of these characters set up. And over here is where, and it was like when you look at it from the child's level, then it's like, there's an order to all of this. And in their mind, something was happening. But yeah, I have seen controversy of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's no single answer to this question is, spoiler alert.
No, and there's not going to be. I'm working with the headphone. Yeah. There we go. A little bit there is coming up. And I've seen it. I've seen, parents come in and they're like, what do we do with all these toys? And in a way, there's a couple of question marks that come into my mind because, I remember growing up and, I grew up in a time where you did spring cleaning. And I grew up in a time where when spring cleaning was happening, anything that was broken was out.
Yeah.
That was just and we were told that as kids, listen, when your toys break, they go away. We're not going to keep them because we're not going to keep garbage. And we want you to learn how to take care of your things.
Because that's an incentive to not break your toys.
Right.
Because children can play with toys in a way that breaks them easily if they...
Right. It helped. I've had kids come in and they are rough.
Oh, because we have a playroom in our therapy office.
They are, yeah. And I learned, because my parents would say, listen, we'll help you, if you break it, and we understand that things will break, then, we might replace it once depending on how it broke. But after that, you're going to have to do chores to earn the money to be able to replace your toy.
Yeah.
That helped us, at least me, learn how to play not as rough, Okay, so and that was kind of the first level.
Yeah.
When Christmas or birthdays came around, they had also instituted, when things come in, things have to go out. And so it would help us be able to understand that there's a process here. 3 things come in, 3 things go out. And so we're evaluating our toys and, things that, because the idea is the things you outgrow, let go of.
Right.
Things you're not playing with as much anymore because the newness, may have worn off, and it will with some. McDonald's toys or other prizes like, at the library type piece, these became toys that were quickly identified as things that could go out.
Right.
We have a prize box over at the clinic.
Right. Yeah, one could argue that we are guilty of pushing toys on children.
And I try to get good toys, you know. So we don't try to get junk toys.
Right.
But, you know, one person's good toys, another person's junk toy.
Absolutely.
You know? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I've had parents say, what am I going to do with all this? And I've said, listen, if you want to just, you know, gather things up in a box that, you know, they no longer play with and you want to bring them back in, I'll put them back in the toy thing.
You've told parents that kids don't have to walk away with a prize if in your family that's not helpful.
Yep, exactly. Because I'm trying to empower the parents to be able to help make that choice. Sometimes, periodically, we'll have toys that will be in like balls about like this size or even smaller. And I have told every parent whose child has taken one, you do not have to take that plastic ball home. If it's just going to wind up as being in the way, just take the prize, leave the ball. Nobody ever left the ball. You know, and I'm like, well, that's an interesting thing. Because I tell them, look, I'll recycle it. I'll use it again.
Oh, I'll put another toy in it.
Another toy.
Because then it makes it a surprise toy if the kid can't see what's in there.
You know, it's something, you know, that the kids love to see. And there's usually more than one thing that's in there. But I've had parents say when I've tried to get the kids to let go of the toys or any toys in the room, suddenly there's this burst out of tears. And I'm like, okay. And then the parents can't go through with it.
Right.
Or one parent can't go through with it and caves in. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a kid problem.
Well, I mean, like the kid is doing what you would expect. And then, our point here is to empower parents. It's like it's in the title or something. To sometimes do things that are good for your kids that they're not super ecstatic about.
And that means that you have to be able to handle the tears, parents.
Right.
You have to be able to sit through that and go, okay, it's okay. You know, because I've had parents that have said, look, I have stacks and stacks and stacks of pictures at home. I mean, it's almost a fire hazard.
Kid artwork pictures.
Has drawn.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you have to institute that these are going to, my parents did the same thing. These are going to be around for a certain amount of time. You can pick certain ones that could stay for a lot longer, but you can't pick them all.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and then
draw a lot of pictures, kid.
Exactly. We did not have in my home growing up, there was a living room and a family room. And the only place that you could have your toys out in was the family room, which was off the kitchen. And you could have them there for up to a week. For instance, I had like these blocks my dad had made. They were mill-ins, and he and I sanded them all down. So I had a huge block set, and I would make massive cities for Star Wars, Army Men, Johnny Hex figures. And he said, you know, I can see that you come back to this every day. So for a week, this is also where the TV was at, you can have those in there. But after a week, they have to be put away for at least a couple of days. But it was the only room in the house other than our bedrooms that toys could just be out and played with.
Otherwise, they had to be put away.
They had to be put away. I mean, you could bring a toy out, you know, by there was a wood stove in the living room area, and so you could play with a toy out there or do something. But when you were done, when you went to something else, it had to be immediately put away. So you have to have these rules that are instituted.
Right.
You know, and we were the main people who were getting the toys out. We, as the kids, were the main people who had to pick them up and put them away.
That's almost like a corollary, but not identical. Is there's the owning the toys,
right,
and then the putting the toys that are owned.
Toys,
if we've all agreed on what toys should be owned,
right,
are they put away?
Exactly. Right. Now we also had our bedrooms. And in our bedrooms, they had taught us about cleaning the bedroom and putting things up and putting things away. And, you know, I remember when I was in, it must have been 7th grade, maybe 6th grade. 6th grade.
So you're like 11, give or take.
Somewhere in there, a little younger, I think. Sure. And my bedroom was ankle deep in toys. And my dad let me know at breakfast on a Saturday that I wasn't going to go anywhere. I was going to stay and clean my room. And I was totally upset about that. And he said, but don't worry, I'm going to help you. I was totally confused by that and not at all excited because
you didn't think that was going well?
Never going to be a good thing. He says at 4 o'clock, at exactly 4 o'clock, I will show up at your room. I will have a large, like the leaf size garbage bag, the black garbage bags, that used to pick up leaves with, and a scoop shovel, and anything left on the floor, I will assume you do not want. Mm-hmm. And so I went in there, it was about 9 o'clock and I was kind of huffy and not, really in track with this. And
that's really quite a long time that he gave you.
He gave me the whole day.
Really quite a long time. And I think the thing I want to highlight there is like, that may be required.
Yeah.
Your kid's not going to tidy up their room in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
He gave you hours.
He gave me hours. Now, he had also given me bins, shelves, toy box, bookshelf.
The resources
there were
available.
The resources to put everything away.
Right.
Because I didn't have more than what my room could handle. And this was a part of all these other kind of rules and structural points.
This only works if you've done the first thing.
You've done
so
the
this
first
is like
thing.
step 2 of your story.
That's a good way to put it. This is step 2. Right. And so I don't have a massive overload of toys.
It'll all fit in the bins.
It'll all fit.
It fits.
Yep. And my parents had done a great job telling the relatives, here's our structure for birthdays, Christmases, whatever toys they get, they have to exit the same amount of toys. Yeah. So if you don't want, because they can actually choose that the new toy gets exited.
Oh, funny. Okay.
They don't have to keep it. If they have something they favor more, yours may not be what stays. So if you would rather buy clothing, we'll give you the sizes and what they're looking for. So it helped to even out those pieces.
So the question is when toys had to exit, like toys come in, toys have to exit.
Yep.
Was it by number or by volume?
Tell me the difference.
Well, because if you have something that comes in that's, I don't know, it's a figurine that's this big
versus
the other way around. If you have a toy that comes in that's this big, can the thing that exits be this big?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so by number.
By number.
Well, so not the size
so you
of
could
the
trade a
irrelevant.
Hot Wheel for a big play
for a
kitchen.
Castle.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'm going to say. As parents, your kids. Yep. This is an art. It's not a science.
Right. Well, I bring that up because, inevitably, like if you set up the rules, it's a 1-to-1. There's going to be a kid who says, I'm bringing in this castle and I'm going to get rid of this dull hairbrush.
Yeah. Exactly. And so that's what you as a parent have to go, it doesn't quite work like that.
That ain't equivalent.
Yeah. So you're bringing in, the first thing that came to mind was like a toy golf set, because it has many different,
clubs.
Thank you.
And a dozen clubs.
A dozen clubs. It has the little balls. It has the thing to put it in, and you want to send out a Hot Wheel.
Right.
My parents would say, it's not going to work like that. Yeah. I understand your thinking, but how about those McDonald's toys? There's you've got 10 things here, a dozen things here. You've got a dozen of those. You're not playing with them. Why don't we make that swap? And they would also say, because if I offered up like a Hot Wheels, they'd be like, you like that.
Yeah.
You have like 5,000 of them. That's because there's also the parent who says, that's not going to go. Right. That's not going to go bye-bye, And a lot of times that in my house, that was, they would watch what we were playing with. They would watch what we loved. They would watch what they knew we liked, and they would help us be able to make these evaluations of, the McDonald's toys or other little things. We're just using that as a placeholder. Yeah. They're not that important to you.
I don't see you play with them.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got them. They were fun for a while. You go from there.
But the only way that works is if you pay attention to your kids enough to be able to make a statement that you can stand behind of, I don't see you play with them. And no, what are you talking about? I play with them all the time. And which one's true? Do you see them or?
Exactly. And my parents might say, okay, when was the last time you played with them? Now, periodically through the year, they might say, hey, listen, I haven't seen you play with your Lincoln Logs for a long time. Yeah. Are you losing interest? Or your Tinker Toys? Right. And so that helps me to think about that. And it helps me Like if they're on the shelf and I forgot about them, then it's going to bring back these different ideas of, oh, that was fun. What could I do with that?
Toys. Yeah.
So they're refreshing my mind for the things that I've always loved to do that I would be maybe opposed to when Christmas came, letting go of.
Right.
Now, if you had the big magnetic types of building things at that time, I might have let those Tinker toys go. You know, it might have been a good one-to-one swap. On that Saturday, I went in there, and you know what I started to do?
Play with all the toys.
Play with all the toys. Yep. I did, and then my mom came by, you know, because the bathroom was right there, and so she would come by a couple times, and then she stopped one time. She goes, it was about 11 o'clock. She goes,
couple hours have gone by.
Yep, doesn't look like you're taking your dad very seriously.
Right? Have you met your dad?
Right, and I'm like, no, I'm seriously playing. I'm serious. That's for sure. I grabbed onto that word. And so she left. And then, you know, because lunch was, I thought, you know, I'll come out, I'll have lunch. This will eat up some time. No, lunch was served to me.
Nice.
In my room.
Like, here, keep working.
Keep working. And my mom said, 4 o'clock is not that far away.
It's coming.
Yeah. Now, those were the only 2 things she said.
All day.
Mm-hmm. My room, because my dad's shop.
And you're like 11.
Yep.
So you're not 3.
Yep.
You're not 17.
Exactly.
You got the thing. I mean, you know.
You've got it. My dad's shop, because he had a shop that was on the property. It was past my room outside. And so after my mom served me lunch, I heard the back door open and close. And then I saw her head go by my room towards the shop. And I'm like, crap. Because, you know, this is before cell phones. You know, so she's going out there.
Your dad hadn't been like back in the house all day.
He'd been in his shop.
So it's like 12:30, and he's getting a status report.
He's getting a status report because they had good teamwork. And I'm starting to think, and then I'm starting to look around.
Wait a second.
And then I'm starting to evaluate. I have clocks in my room, by the way, and so I can tell time.
And you can tell time.
And I just had this very, very scary thought that my dad actually meant what he said and said what he meant.
Because he had a habit of doing those things.
A habit of doing that. He would set the line, he would hold the line. And so I began to frantically clean.
At about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Somewhere in there, yes. And just to fast forward a bit, I was on a stool putting the last toy in place on a shelf.
Wow.
When my dad showed up with the extra large garbage bag.
It took
and
you
the
hours.
Scoop shovel. Yes, it did. It took me not that long to mess it up, but hours to be able to put it. And the room was nice, orderly, and neat. Now, they had taught us how to clean a room and where things go and how to be able to do these things. So the managing skills are all there. Right. I will never be able to forget the feeling of relief that swept through my body as I saw my dad there and I was putting the last toy up and he had this little smile like,
there it is.
Nice choice. And I'm like, this could have gone so bad. And I like my toys. I mean, my parents, my family members, they got us nice toys and they taught us how to take care of them. And they were a lot of fun. I had a blast with toys. So to your TikTokers, one toy, that's about that one person. Yeah. You know, and now, are there situations where you need to reduce down? Yeah, know your kid. Right. Know your kid to know which situations there are. Right. I have some of my prized toys still. Yeah. I have a lot of them that sit up on a shelf in my office. And when I walk into there, I get some wonderful feelings from childhood of the experiences of playing with those toys. The nostalgia, exactly. From the kids' view, yeah, I get what you're trying to say by going down to the kids' view and all these different things. Sure, I absolutely get that. You still need to have some kind of a time reference on things,
some order,
right? Because kids have to learn; they're not the only ones that are in the house. Right. And so the house shouldn't belong to the kids. Yeah. The younger they are, the more you're going to have some things scattered about, but you have to teach them when those get picked up and how those get picked up. Yeah. And as you're helping them with that at younger and younger ages, then that becomes more of a thing that's just ingrained into them. Because maybe all the toys get picked up before you go to a nap, or lunch, or dinner. And the younger you can do that, then the more that will become a part of the routine, that they have on themselves. I've been in homes where the grade schooler would bring out toys and dump it in the middle of the room that everybody was talking in, and mess with a couple of the things, and then walk away to get another thing to come out and dump in the room. While the mom comes, and they're all telling him to pick it up, but then the mom comes around and picks up the first thing while he dinks around with the second thing, but then he goes to get a third thing, and then mom's picking up the second thing while he's dinking around with the third thing, and then he gets a fourth thing, and I'm like, this is totally like trying to herd cats in a mouse factory.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't work.
Well, I will give we need to wrap up soon, but I'll give a quick horn toot of my own tooting of horn, because I have the system that we came up with at our house has been working perfectly for our almost 3-year-old.
Nice.
In the room, in his bedroom, I put in really cool storage bins, and then we have all these shelves, and so we display most of the toys so that you can see them. So every toy, it's easy to see the cars, the whatever. Then what we do is his room is upstairs. Downstairs in our living room is where we spend most of our time. I have 2 nice looking crates, essentially, that are like these woven baskets that we keep in there permanently. One of them is full of trains, because we love wooden trains and that. The other one is rotating toys. And so what I do is every couple of weeks, we'll take all those back to his room, ask what new toys we want to put in that basket. So then at downstairs at any point, we have those 2 things, and essentially we clean up every day. So basically before the end of the day, the living room is reset. But in the bedroom, that's where if we want to have something out for a week or longer, then we do that. And so far, that has worked great, because rotating the new toys into the living room provides interest. I notice he'll just quit playing and get bored if we don't do that. And so then when we rotate them, then he's occupied, he's fun, and he's fine with just having a few toys down there. So we're not having to bring tons of stuff. And then that helps us have a clean, orderly living room. And also his bedroom is clean and orderly, but at any point he sees all the stuff. And then essentially when we get new things, we either have 2 categories of either giving away old stuff, or we want to have more children. So then the things that we really liked and we say, hey, we would want this for another child, we store in our garage. But then once we're done, then those things would all be given away as well. So. And then the other thing I thought of that I just wanted to mention is the artwork. Obviously, no one wants to throw away the artwork because it's rough, but you do accumulate a lot of it. And today the benefit is we have the phones, we have scanners, so you can just take photos and digitize that, and and then you can still save a few. But that's something that I do, is I just take photos of stuff, because I will find myself going like, oh, I feel sad to throw away this we got a Pokemon Happy Meal that had stickers that he put on a poster. And I'm just like, why is this still sitting here? I should throw it away. But he put the stickers on the poster and it's so special. Well, I just took a picture of it and then threw it away. And then that kind of satisfies that need for me.
I never even thought about that, because you could make a digital scrapbook or a digital portfolio with those.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some of my son's grade school pictures that are on the door to the closet in my office at home. And he's 22. Yeah. And he did them, when he was like 7, 8, right. And they're really cool. But I wish I would have had more of what you were talking about there. Yeah. I think there could be a part 2 to this. Yeah. And that's...
We'll see.
Well, and here's what I'm going to suggest, see if you put it on the list. When it gets the down and dirty of having to pull things out of the room.
Yeah.
Of what a parent's next steps, if this doesn't work, in just the easiest fashion. Yeah. Because there are some techniques to be able to use, other than what I've mentioned already, that just reduce a room. Right. And it's not as the extreme of reduced to 1. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. So maybe we'll have a part 2 of this, and definitely let us know in the comments how you have addressed the toy overload in your home and kind of what you do to deal with that. And like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode.